If you're a writer, then you love words. And we've got a new word for you today, or maybe you've already heard it. It's polymath. And here to describe what a polymath is one of our winning writers live coming from Ireland tonight. Welcome to Writer Talks. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and actually he's in London, but he's from Ireland. So he's a global citizen, he's a creator, and he's here on Writer Talks. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-creator of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and I interview our winning writers every Monday evening at 7 Eastern USA time. I am so excited to introduce you to Simon Nader. We are going to cover a whole range of topics, starting with the word polymath. Welcome, Simon.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, and hello, everyone. I kind of almost prefer like our invention poly guy. I don't know why we said that, but like I love that. But yeah, we were just trying to figure out like what the best way to describe to intro was. And I remember someone asked me about that word once, and I was like, it's just too pretentious for me to use. I can't say polymath, but it kind of covers a lot of things that I guess we both do, and probably a lot of people will do as well, because creative stuff tends to flow into different medium. So yeah, I would say to put it really simply, somebody who kind of works in lots of creative outlets because they have to.
I love it. So polymath, poly guy, poly girl, poly chick, poly dude, whatever it is. It's a cool word to
Polly pocket. I don't know where that is.
So it's a cool way to say I do a whole lot of stuff. I'm a creative person, and many writers are creative. And so you are an actor, you are a writer, you're a director, a photographer, and a teacher. Oh my goodness. How do you do it all? And you're country hopping, going from London to Ireland, and you're a global citizen and a creative. So how do you balance all of this, Simon?
You know, that's a really good question, and it's not always easy. And it's a double-edged sword, I feel, and this probably chimes with a lot of people, but sometimes it's good because if you maybe have a bit of a kind of creative stumbling block in one avenue, then you can channel into something else. And that's something that I do quite a lot. And we were talking about attention span. I kind of slightly schizophrenic in that regard, because I focus when I really focus. I'm super focused. And I remember even from school, a friend of mine whose name I still remember, called Rocky, was apparently trying to get my attention for literally 40 seconds. And she threw something at me and she was like, Simon, stop ignoring me. I was like, oh, sorry. I literally didn't hear because like I cannot, which is kind of mad. But then with that, I also get bored very easily. So I need to get between things. So I don't know if that's for you. I'm sure it is.
Yes. So Simon, having a short attention span as a writer is a problem because writing requires such intense focus. So how do you deal with that? Because let me just share real quick, when I'm working and I get the sudden urge to like go, oh, let me go look this up, or oh, let me check my messages. No, because that takes you on a path away from your focus, and then you have to regroup and re-immerse, and it's terrible. How do you deal with that?
That's interesting. Well, my process changes per project, really. So if I'm writing maybe a play, which is something I do, it's a different skill set, I guess, even though the fundamentals are still there. You still got your keyboard, you still got your pen, wherever, however you like to write. But if you're writing about something that demands research, obviously research in itself, I feel, if you're doing a project that demands that, and let's face it, most projects that you write, unless it's from direct personal experience, do that focuses your attention anyway. And then of course, the more your interest is piqued, the more into it you get. Just like, of course, if you're doing anything creatively, if the creator is interested, then you would hope that the material would therefore be interesting. So focus in itself kind of comes naturally when you're working. But if you mean in terms of kind of sitting down and going, right, I am going to write this today, I used to probably put a lot of pressure on myself to do that. And I found that meant that I didn't do stuff. In fact, I shied away from it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like the pressure thing. So the reason why I think I flip between projects, and also when I'm writing, I mean, I guarantee you, like I have 3-4 things on the go at once, because something that used to get me was block, right? That everyone has, because the need maybe to produce something, and then you have your own so-called standards. And if you start prejudging your own work, you're not going to get anything out. So I got some advice, and I don't mind saying, you know, I spoke to kind of a counselor about this kind of stuff as well, about a confidence thing. And I found that was the way. If I was just getting stuck with anything, then I shut down one project for a little bit, move on to something else, do a little bit more. And that's how I achieve my focus. Like if I'm really in and I'm on a flow, you know yourself as well, Elizabeth, when you're in a flow with something, you can't tell yourself away from that thing. But if it feels like you're starting to tread through kind of treacle, rather than force myself to do that, I will shut myself down and not stress and move to something else. And that's kind of my process, really.
I love it. I love that you created a process to deal with that, to maximize your potential as a creative person doing so many awesome things. And one of the awesome things you've done is write a winning story for the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing monthly contest. We're so proud of you. It's called Take on Your Man. It's short. It packs a powerful punch, literally. And it's awesome. And one of the themes is being a multiracial person. Can you talk about that, please, Simon?
Sure, yeah. So I'm mixed race, Middle Eastern, and British, and within Britain, of course, there's various different nations. So I've literally got one of everything. So I've got English, Scottish, Welsh, and then now I'm with an Irish lady and live in Dublin. And then my dad is a Catholic Arab, with all of the stuff that kind of went in with that. And, you know, I could tell you tales of mad stuff that's happened kind of to him. But yeah, it's important to me in many respects, most notably actually as an actor, because most people don't have to be directly involved in the industry to know there's an awful lot of stuff that goes with it. And frankly, looking like I do, I don't look noticeably like I'm ethnic, if you want. And it really is something that people almost stumble into saying without offending, without saying it. Like, like, oh, you've got a bit of something in you, which can be a kind of a phrase I don't really like. But in terms of casting, I've had people say things like, you know, and I am, as ethnically right down there, and I cast somebody that is literally my complete makeup, and had the feedback, yeah, you're not kind of dark enough for the audiences and stuff like that. So it does rankle with me. There's a lot of strange attitudes. I grew up in a very multicultural place in London, so, you know, friends from all kind of from walks of life, and it is something that that does get me, because, as I say, my dad's had some experiences, friends of mine have had some terrible kind of racial experiences. I haven't had any kind of overt discrimination, because probably people don't necessarily see, but I've been in rooms where people have gone on racist diatribes, and I've been like, well, hold a second, so here who you were talking to. So it is important to me. It does get me annoyed, and why I was kind of motivated to write that story.
Yeah, because the story, I don't want to give it away. Everybody go to twosisterswriting.com/winning stories and read Take on Your Man. So you'll read the story, but someone makes a slur and the man reacts, and it's really interesting. So we share this interesting trait in that my mother is African American and Italian. My father was white, English, French, and Cherokee Indian. And so I mixed a lot too with things. And I've had those experiences where people say racist stuff, or just things. Sometimes I don't know that they're intending to be mean, but they come off as mean or ignorant. And but we have the power to speak up and set the record straight, which is a gift that we offer to the world because they're not expecting it. But it's really, really fascinating to walk through the world and have this unique perspective as a writer, because we can peer into worlds and viewpoints that others might not get to see. So do you find that writing is a therapeutic way to deal with this?
100%. Yeah. And you know, something that's not been touched on, but you know, without probing too deeply to you as well, but you get a kind of identity crisis a little bit when, you know, when you have these different things, and it can be from comments, and it can be from your own sense of self as well, and feeling like fitting in. And I probably didn't feel like I kind of fit in very well as a kid at school. I had friends, no problem. Still, thankfully, hopefully have friends, unless they're all lied. They're all terrible liars. But it's a thing that I think can come from that. And also, my kind of parental background wasn't kind of great. I didn't really get on. So that all of that kind of stuff can lead into itself. So I think that, I always wrote, even when I was a kid. In fact, arrogantly, with my friend Cameron, we were writing stories for kids where we would like 8 ourselves. Not very good ones. but but like, it definitely is. And I think because I work and I train actors, as I'm a professionally trained actor as well. And I kind of, with the stuff with the kids I work with mostly, we go into this stuff a lot that most people, if they're honest and they're in creative industries, it does come from a place of something like insecure or some form of therapy. And it doesn't have to be, the kind of, I don't know, like the kind of big, like, I need to do something, but it's just something that calls within you, or it doesn't. And I think a lot of creative people have that. I certainly do. It helps me, and I always think that if it helps me, it might help someone else. But I try very hard not to ever preach in anything that I write or anything I direct, because I feel, if you massage a message rather than a kind of scream, more effective.
I love that. So you used the word massage in your bio. You're massaging minds. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
I love that. That was
yeah.
That was so cool. So as a writer and as a teacher, do you feel that you're teaching through your writing in a way that's entertaining? I call it edutainment.
Yeah, in a way, because the writing stuff that I do when I'm teaching is actually usually drama focused. So, for instance, like I would devise work with students, encourage them to write. What I found really works is if you try and get like students to kind of put a little bit of themselves in there as well. So, for instance, characters, right? So I wrote and directed 2 feature films over the last few years that's with my old students. Sadly left that because, I moved country, sadly, but hi guys. And I found that, like, a big part, as well as training them and trying to encourage them, really, when I really put it into kind of words, it was about confidence. And I think that writing and having the confidence to kind of put something of you down on paper or on a screen, and then, from that, then perform something that might be similar to your own character, really, really, I think, helped them very much. And I've had great feedback from them who've said that. And for me, that's super important. So yeah, certainly encouraging people to kind of reach within themselves. And it sounds a bit self-aggrandizing, but I get more pleasure from hearing from old students who get in touch quite regularly and say, hey, I'm doing this, and like, I was prepared for this, and this is awesome, than anything else. And I think writing particularly, because sometimes you do it, especially when it's an early on, and you go, man, I did that. I can't believe I did that. And then you'll put out yourself and you'll be like, well, no, actually, but then you start to find flaws, which is fine, you will. But as long as you do it, I think that's the main thing, because no one can take away from you achievement. And I always say in art, although I suppose it's not strictly true in every discipline, and dance particularly, but I always say there's no real wrong. There's only kind of degrees of it.
Nice. I love what you're saying about confidence and positivity for writers, because there's so much rejection. It can be so difficult, especially for writers who have this huge dream, and yet the day job and all the grueling realities of life make the dream seem so unattainable sometimes. So how do you maintain your positivity and confidence in a world that is so challenging sometimes for writers?
Ooh, great question. It's difficult. It's really difficult. I would say that I'm conditioned for it. I'm very used to it. For rejection from dates at school. First grounding. Years of kind of acting stuff, and I've chosen to go into careers and career paths where it's full of it. So I'm kind of used to it. Doesn't make it easy, mind you. But I think the main thing is to never take it personally. Lots of people say that. And I hear that a lot, and it's genuinely something I don't now take personally, but like, I'm 43, I've had many years to kind of get myself into that situation. It can hurt, but you can acknowledge that it hurts and either use that to spur you on, not in a kind of, well, I'll show you way, but like, okay, so what do I do? I think that rejection can be positive if you spin it that way. You didn't chime at that time.
Nice. Nice. So I coach people. I'm a book coach. I'm America's
Yeah.
book coach. And
Yeah.
one major thing is making people believe in themselves. You know, we all have this calling as writers, but we have to answer the call, first of all, and stick with it, persevere through the rejection and the pain and the disappointment. That's why Catherine started the short story contest, Simon, because she had gotten so many rejection letters. She said, if I'm ever in a position to help other writers get published, which your book, your story gets published in our anthologies, and we have our international anthologies. We're going on number 4. So we are celebrating writers around the world, and that's our mission. And so I'm so happy that you're here. Simon, would you like to read some of your work?
Definitely. Before I do, I'd just like to say, actually, you guys did give me a bit of a kind of fill up, because for everyone through COVID, obviously, for many different reasons, it's been very difficult. And yeah, it's always lovely when you get something that kind of makes it through, and the fact that it kind of speaks to somebody is great. So yeah, important work, and thank you, and thanks for the invitation. Yeah, man,
So honored. So honored. Thank you.
I would love, no, thank you. I would love to read you guys a little something from In Confidence, which is a little novella that's published by Write Out Publishing. It's been out for a couple of years now, and to set the scene, this is why you shouldn't censor. I would never have written this 10 years ago. So it's set in an STI clinic, and I thought,
in a what?
hey,
in a what?
In a like a sexually transmitted like infection clinic, and I yeah, I know. Of all the places, I just thought, what a cool place that would be to meet someone.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
yeah.
I just read this story. The numbers are spiking like so crazy. And there's this thing it's in England. It's
What?
called, oh, what is it called? It sounds horrific. I repressed the idea because it was so horrible. So no, this is so timely. I'm really happy that you're here, because the numbers are going up. The World Health Organization says. Yeah, but that's a fascinating meeting someone at the STD. They call it STDs here. STI, sexually transmitted infection clinic.
Do you know, it's so funny because
oh my God.
I put STDs in the scripts all through, but I thought you guys said STIs. That's so funny.
We say both, but yeah, but people say STD more, but STI is what like the medical field says, I guess. I don't know. I can't wait to hear this.
I've chosen a section that's a little bit less risque. Am I allowed to swear, or do you want me to edit that out?
I don't know what YouTube's rules are, so just if you can just say
sure. Bleep.
Huh?
Bleep.
Yeah, bleep. But we'll know what it means in the context, right?
Fair play. You will. Yeah, you will. Don't worry.
Okay.
I don't use anything too controversial. All right.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Can you please give me back my bag? It's Laura, of course. She came back. I look up, hand in the biscuit tin, and I see this beautiful woman, full face for the first time. She has long brown hair, sky blue eyes. She has, well, mascara stained cheeks, and she's wearing skinny black jeans with an old ripped black t-shirt. And I just about managed to say back, sorry. Again, I've become Mr. English now, 2 sorries in 2 sentences, and I hold her handbag out towards her. She reaches out, looks really embarrassed by the way, and takes the bag back gingerly like it's a bomb. I stand up and start to explain why I was looking through her bag, and she just blinks at me through tears, rain, mascara, goo, and also being English says, sorry. It's okay, I say, not meaning it, but hopefully doing a good job of making it seem like I mean it. But dude, she hit my bleeping ear, so I'm bleeped off and in pain. I hit you, she agrees, disbelieving and not knowing that I was going to write that to you in the previous line. On my ear, I add, now obviously giving away the fact that I was totally insincere with my earlier "it's okay" line. Does it hurt? She asks, and she does this cute little squint as she says it, like, oh, it does. I'm such a twat. So I don't care anymore about actually being punched, and I lie again. Not too badly. So that's the most subtle part of that romance story that I could possibly read. But the whole concept is it's a letter back to the character. And this is a very unlikable character. I wanted to write a character who wasn't necessarily a very balanced person, and who has a lot of flaws with confidence. And of course, where would you need more confidence, but in first of all going in and actually fronting up to a problem. So I wrote this to kind of get awareness of getting checked, and obviously aware with teenagers, so it's a big deal for me. And the concept is about these two people that end up meeting in the most unlikely circumstances, but it's full of gratuitously horrible symptoms and references, and hopefully someone's inspired from that very tame extract to seek out the far less tame rest of the book.
Oh, wow. So how long is it? And you said it's a novella?
Yeah, I'd say it probably take about, you could read it through in about 40 minutes, I say, depending on how quick. Now I read slow, like I do the actors thing of savoring every word. So I'm sure like readers may will probably zing through it in 20. But yeah, I'd say it's a good 40 minutes. It's a cup of coffee book.
Oh, a cup of coffee book. I love it. I love it. So where can people get that?
So that's available from Right Out Pub. Online, they're really kind of as well. So please do check them out. Buy some merch.
All right, excellent. Right Out Publishing, and the title again, Simon, is
In Confidence.
Is that one word?
Yeah. So the idea being that like it's a letter that's written in confidence to the lead character's best friend, but of course be in confidence because it's in the public domain. So
right, of course. That's fascinating, and I love the way you read. You're an actor, so it's very engaging.
Oh, thanks.
That was awesome. You're welcome. That was really fun. It was just very witty and like high energy. So I can't even imagine what the rest of it's like.
Thanks a lot. I mean, yeah, that's I try, as I said earlier, like if I'm not interested, then how can you be as a reader? And I think that, you know, I shied away many years ago from trying to write stuff. And I know that you've written about this. You said this about yourself. Trying to write stuff for other people kind of blocks you. Whereas if you're writing not just for yourself, but like write stuff that's interesting to you and in a style that gets you find your voice, as I know you tell to people as well, then I think that stands you in good stead. So, you know, I don't ever write for kind of really the commercial view. I don't at this point think, you know, how can I make a load of money with this? It's really like, I want to say this, I enjoy saying this, and hopefully someone gets it. And that's kind of it.
I love it. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. There's another piece you'd like to read as well?
Yeah, I can. Thank you. So this is just a little example. I've had this is from an anthology called The Alphabet According to Several Strange Creatures. And it's basically like I've had several of these published separately. The most proudly was during the kind of Trump administration, and you're like, you know, the mixed race thing. I was obviously concerned about the level of racism coming out, and a great American publication called the Paragon Journal they put out a call for writers to talk about diversity. And the last poem in the piece, because I literally go from A to Z for you guys, through and write a different animal. I didn't know this existed. So there's an animal which is called a zonkey, which was like a hybrid zebra and a donkey, right? And of course, I was super interested in what this animal was. But anyway, I'm not going to read that bit because that's kind of out there. And it was actually hand delivered to the White House. You know, if the guy could read, I don't know if he did, but like, but I like to think that maybe someone threw that on the floor in a pit of rage, and it did its job. But but it was like a series of environmentally conscious poems, and each one, as I say, has its own particular message. And this one, I think, sums it up quite well. So this is Human. It's quite a short piece, but without further ado, so this is Human, the villain of the piece. Human was born and immediately wailed. In a few generations, God would have failed to create a species in his own image, for human like to rape and to pillage. The first men and women were really quite simple, with cute bulging brows and cute little dimples, but several millennia would do nothing but prove that human danced to a sadistic groove. Other animals hunted for food, sheer necessity and not petty feud, but human's great talent was wanton destruction of habitats, species, and war between factions. Some of the animals left out of this work were omitted because human is a jerk and extinguished the existence of many noble creatures, some of whom had remarkable features. So human actually gets quite short shrift for abusing nature's bountiful gifts. Let's move along at a rapid pace and say no more about this waste of space.
That was great. I
Thanks.
love it.
Thank
That's
you.
so fun and powerful.
Thank you.
Wow.
So you know what, my therapy dude actually helped me find a way to pitch all of that, because I was really struggling to get the pieces out there and see. And you know, I kind of write with this teenage mentality. So we decided to pitch it as like, you know, not for teenagers, hoping that kind of the messages will go to people that need them. And you know, there's pieces in the other works about like gender identity and kind of being confident, and then like social enterprise and all sorts of themes. I hope it's going to be continually more relevant as we have the summit at the moment and our kind of worsening climate problems. So yeah.
Wow,
I care.
fascinating. I love how you can be so entertaining and talk about really hard-hitting issues that we're dealing with this today.
Thanks.
That's great.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh, how did our time go so fast? What?
Wow. No way.
That's crazy. So Simon, do you have any tips for other writers? Time management, creativity, anything you'd like to share?
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, I would say really the best advice I can give you is kind of what I said already. Like, I think it's very hard to not put pressure on yourself. Like, I must finish this. I have to do this. Now, why are you writing? It's probably just like kind of why are you acting and stuff. If it's for fame, go and do something else. If it's for, you know, if it's for, in my opinion, if it's for some artistic reason, that's hopefully why you're in there. It'll be transparently obvious if it's not, right, because you want to. And you know, there's a piece of advice that to segue, but a guitarist from the band Filter wrote, which has always stayed with me, which is, you know, something artistic and creative shouldn't feel like a chore. If it is, put it away until it feels like a pleasure again. So, you know, so what I would say is, like, if you're passionate enough to have written the ideas down and to want to say something, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what drafts are for. And, you know, if you're lucky enough to have editors, and obviously they'll help you with stuff. If not, if you're your own editor, then, you know, you'll know when it's right. But I think ultimately you have to at some point make a decision and go, okay, that's it for now. I'm going to start sending it out there and see what happens. And if it's rejection, then, as I say, it's how you spin that. It's either personal, but remember it's not, or it's inspiration to kind of like tweak and do until you're happy. But I'd say don't try and please other people. Just try and be true to your kind of what you want to say, and entertain yourself, and therefore other people will be. That's the best advice I think I could give.
Oh, that's powerful. Entertain yourself. That's so cool. And other people, hopefully, when you find you connect with the right target audience, they will be as well.
Yeah, I think if you believe in your message, you know, then, and of course your messages can change, your ideas can change. And it's nice to go back and see maybe how your opinions have changed over the years. If I look back at stuff that I never got out there, it was like 10 years ago, then, you know, my worldviews have changed, but certainly, you see styles go on as well. And if you've had something, I would say don't throw it away. Like typesheet.com published something for me called Anonymity and Pleasure a few years back. But it's something I wrote years and years ago, and I just thrown it in the basement. I was like, oh, actually, no, that feels right now. And I started putting it out there and it got there. So I think that's my other thing. Like, you had an idea for a reason. All ideas don't have to be great ideas, but they can be ideas that can chime with somebody. So if it feels right to you, persist.
I love it. Great advice. Great advice, Simon. Okay, so what's next for you? And then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. Well, I've finished a play that COVID has really delayed everything. I was actually doing a show that I wrote called My Big Breakup Show for years, and then of course, having written a breakup show, I met a brilliant woman. So,
so congratulations.
Thank you. So I was still going to put that on, but like that's now gone. So that play's gone, and there's another one that I've written with an ex-student of mine, which is about kind of connection and misfits. So we're hoping to put that one on next year. So it's kind of realms of drama, and I've just editing the second feature that I was developing with my students called Summer Camp, which is about abuses of trust in the industry, and was a collaborative effort. So those are the next two things that will be out. Plus, I've got, as I say, I've always got stuff on my bottom drawer. I've got a novel based on my genuine experiences as like a doorman, which has been done before, but I think this is going to be done in a very different way. So I need to crank over ahead and finish that one, and then that one else.
I love it. I love it. You froze for a second, but the
Oh,
words
sorry.
still didn't miss any words. I was just sitting here staring at the screen. That happened a couple times. So whatever. Technology, because you're in London and I'm in Michigan in the United States. So that's pretty cool. We're just going to roll with it.
Wi-Fi has held up this long. My dad's got terrible Wi-Fi. So
oh, wow, 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 wow. So Simon, I wish you the absolute best. And I'm so grateful that you submitted your awesome story, Take on Your Man, at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. Everybody, please go there and read his short story. It's really great. And it's at twosisterswriting.com/winning stories. Simon Nader, Take on Your Man. Simon, I wish you the best. And thank you so much for joining me here on Writer Talks tonight.
thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute blast, and it's a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you. And thank you, all of you, for joining us here on Writer Talks, where you got to meet the writer, actor, director, photographer, and teacher, Simon Nader, who taught us a new word, polymath. So let's all be polymaths, because that means we have multiple talents and we get to do them all and really live life as creatives to the fullest. Please go to twosisterswriting.com and check out our contest. We'd love for you to enter your short stories. And actually in 2021, we've opened it up to nonfiction as well. So we'd love to see your writing. And if you win, you get to be published in our international anthologies, just like Simon is. So please also follow us on Twitter at two sisters writing, and at Elizabeth Atkins, and tune in every Monday night at 7:00 Eastern time here on YouTube, Two Sisters Writing and Publishing channel, where you get to watch Writer Talks and learn writing tips and hear from amazing authors from around the world like Simon Nader. So thanks for watching. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I wish you happy writing.